Hey everybody, Sean McInnes here at E3 2010, where I am currently joined by Hazit Zala from Crytek, who's here to tell us all about Crysis 2. Hazit, thanks for joining us.
Okay, pleasure.
All right, so Crysis and its expansion, Crysis Warhead, they were set on an island out in the Pacific there, but it's Crysis 2. It's a bit different. You've moved to the island of Manhattan. It's New York City. How are you guys looking to maintain that sort of like open world explorative gameplay in Crysis 2 while you're set in a dense urban environment?
Well, that's quite an interesting question, because I think what we've done is we chose New York specifically because of its kind of architecture and what we could do with it. So what we've coined is this idea of catastrophic beauty and also the urban jungle. And what you'll see in the game is the ability to basically sort of like traverse the verticality of the levels and play around with it in the kind of classic Crysis sandbox style.
Now, one of the other big features of the original Crysis was the nanosuit. You had this wealth of power at your disposal to go about taking care of all these enemies around you. Can you talk about what you guys have maintained from that nanosuit from the beginning and how you've expanded or changed it for the sequel?
Well, the nanosuit sort of like gave you those special abilities that differentiated Crysis from sort of like other standard FPS games. Now what we've done is we've taken those abilities and we've looked into improving those so that what we're doing is actually sort of like developing gameplay styles. So we've got the same abilities, but now they're kind of sort of like collapsed into two main modes. The first mode is the Predator mode, and that's the one where you kind of cloak and you can sneak up on your enemies and take them out. And the second main mode is the Hunter mode, where you become sort of like super strength and you're able to go in gun-ho and sort of like take people out. But you still have all those abilities that you had before. If anything, they're even more enhanced.
Can you tell us a little bit about how your abilities play out over the course of a typical level, a typical set-piece battle in Crysis 2 now that it's in New York City?
Well, that's an interesting question, because again, sort of like one thing that's very unique about Crysis and the way it plays is that it's a sandbox experience. So every playthrough is different. You can use the environments to play through in such a way that you make use of it as best you can. So
like a lot of interaction with debris, cars, lots of weapons and ammo strewn about the world, right?
Yeah, so you can never predict what the AI are going to do or what situation you're going to be faced with next. So really, you're always looking to take advantage of the environment around you and the situation that presents you. Choose your play style and then sort of like take your options. So really, it's all about looking at your world and playing around with those various ingredients.
Now, you mentioned the phrase catastrophic beauty as a way to sort of add some emotional resonance to the story in Crysis 2, but you guys have also brought on the help of a relatively famous sci-fi author. Can you tell us about the storyline in Crysis 2 and who you guys are working with now?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not in a position to tell you very much about the story at this stage. But like you say, we brought on sort of like a very famous sci-fi writer, Richard Morgan, on, and the reason for that was to make sure that this was a really top-notch title. We really wanted to improve the storytelling, and I think those details will emerge in the future.
Hazit, I appreciate your time very much. One last question I've got for you. When do you expect Crysis 2 to be available in stores? And it's a multi-platform game this time around, right?
Yeah, very much so. Sort of like we're using CryEngine 3, which is across all three platforms, and Crysis 2 is coming out in holiday 2010.
Thank you very much, Hazit.
Okay, thank you.
And that does it for your look at Crysis 2 here at E3 2010.